into the clouds. I can watch my mistakes here. And we're going to boldly dive forward here, hitting share and screen, and then project. Okay, hopefully this works out here. And then let's share. And we are sharing the wrong screen now. I'm pretty sure, at least, because people are seeing the, let's go screen 2. There we go. Share. Okay, now people can actually see the real presentation, not my notes. So for a little bit of reference, we needed something, and there'd been some talk about the way that Firefox had been screwing with stuff and the big brouhaha around that. So figured it was a fairly easy time to revisit just exactly what are all the other browsers out there. Everybody knows me, so we can skip over that. But yeah, I've just been recycling the same slide with slightly different stuff because I mean, what better headshot is there than that one, I guess. So brief history of what was Firefox. Um, I don't know how many, well, there's a lot of old people in this meeting. Uh, Back in the day, the good old Netscape browser, uh, the Netscape Navigator, in 98, Netscape Communications Corp released it sort of as their last shot of, well, okay, we lost Internet Explorer 1 and we're going to, instead of being a company, we're going to go free and open source. And in 2000, that should be, yeah, that definitely is not in order. Anyway, though, in 2003, the Mozilla Foundation was sort of found, and it's rising from the ashes of Netscape. Uh, then by about '04, they released Firefox 1, which was its own thing. Would have been 2002 that Phoenix was a standalone browser. Because if you remember, Netscape had a whole bunch of other stuff bundled in with it, email, Gopher, FTP. I mean, it could do everything. It was your traditional, uh, oh, uh, AOL-like browser experience. And of course, that made it very heavy, and not everybody actually wanted to use its email system or anything like that. Some people actually liked other stuff like Microsoft Mail or something like that, which again, friends don't let friends, don't use it. And also all of the email or all of the supported Microsoft environments at this point don't have that. So you really, really shouldn't be using it because you're probably going to get hacked. But that's a whole nother discussion. So in '04, it was released, version 1, um, hit the charts at 100 million downloads in the first year. And then in '09, it was peak Firefox. They had 32.21% of the market share, and it was all downhill from there. Flash in the pan, by 2017, they decided that, Firefox sort of performance-wise sucked, so they were going to improve it.
Not really that long ago.
Yeah, it was a memory hog and etc. But so in 2023, they started to sort of sneak in privacy policy changes, and there was a little bit of a brouhaha, but they still promised they weren't going to ever use your data and everything was fine. So la la la. And then 2025 here now, they actually updated their terms and conditions. And that's where the biggest brouhaha of maybe they aren't great. But and what is this that we're talking about in their statements in their FAQ? They promised they were never going to sell personal data, Uh, and they deleted it from their FAQ. But hey, they say, don't panic. We changed it because California changed their laws, and turns out we are actually selling your data by their definition. So we sort of fixed it a little bit. But basically, what did they do? They got rid of the, does Firefox sell your data? Nope, we never have, never will, and we'll protect you from the advertisers. That's what we do. That's I promise. Then we don't sell data about you in the way that people think about it. We don't buy data, but legally we do, kind of. So, and is it a big deal? No, nothing's changed right now. However, the fact that they're putting weasel words in there, there's room for change in the future. And burn me once, shame on you. Burn me twice, etc. So, plus, really, right now, if you look at the worldwide stats of browsers, uh, uh, Firefox has gone absolutely horrible. It's now down to 2.62% of the worldwide share. So if you look, the Firefox is this dark red, and there you can see they start out not too bad back in 2012, and now they're, yeah.
Is it really saying that more people use Samsung versus?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Because think of,
On the mobile phones.
think of all the phones that Samsung sells. Samsung sells a metric boatload of phones now.
No, not by default.
Not by default, as well as any of the Samsung TVs also use the Samsung browser. But of course, the big blue feller here is Chrome, and of course, it's winning the world. Safari, somehow people are still using it because defaults matter.
Yeah. It's just like, why is Samsung browser so big? It's
Yeah.
the exact same reason why.
And also the fact that all iOS stuff is under the hood actually Safari, even if it claims it isn't.
Asterisk, maybe not in the EU, asterisk.
Yeah. But yeah, and
If browsers on iOS are just Safari skins.
Unless you're in the EU, and then they might be using different engine in the EU.
yeah,
Yeah, the EU laws got that opened up.
But it's not encrypted.
but so yeah, anyway though, Edge right now, the depressing thing is Edge is actually doing better than Firefox. Edge is currently at 5.33%, and Firefox is at 2.62%.
Is that low? I'm surprised. Never use a Windows box. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at it because like if you ever try to download Chrome with Edge, it's like I'm Chrome. You know I'm Chrome. It's like the nagware in Edge when you're trying to download another browser is kind of bad.
Yeah, unfortunately, some of us are forced to use either Chrome or Edge. So, yeah. Anyway, though, for certain things.
Thanks, Microsoft.
Yep. So anyway, though, just as a fun experiment here, I asked AI to try and generate the Gardner Square like style thing of where one side is privacy and the other side is open sourceness. And instead it sort of did a line. So I asked it to explain just exactly what the heck it was doing. And so I do have why it grouped it that way. If I can.
Where is Firefox on there, Andrew?
Give me a moment here. Firefox.
It's near Pale Moon, Chromium, Vivaldi.
Yeah, it's
on their nope, it's down below.
I see it. I thought it was up there. I thought it was up there under DuckDuckGo.
That might be
that's
Waterfox.
Waterfox, as well as something else. But yeah, here, let me try and get that browser window with the explanation of how we got there, if I can grab it.
I'm still having a bit of trouble with the Internet Explorer being down there. That's giving me a little giggles.
Oh, yeah, that one, I actually asked it directly to put in there just for the fun of it. And of course, it's the least of the, but yeah, it grouped it into high open source, high privacy, moderate open source, high privacy, etc. So I mean, it was technically trying to do the right thing. I'll go ahead and paste this into the chat so people can read the explanation at their leisure here. Chat. This was oh um this was, sorry here, let me pull up just exactly what model I was using, but this is the world of AI, just because on a lark, I was curious what would happen out of it. This was Claude 3.7 Sonnet thinking. But so it argued why those should be considered as things. And I'll have my own thoughts here in a minute over more slides here, because it got some things right, some things wrong, and some things I'd argue it just was smoking crack. But I mean, that's AI for you. So one way to group your browsers, if you're looking, is by what browser engine and JavaScript engine it's actually using. Of course, the 800-pound gorilla is the Chromium-based stuff. So you're talking Brave, Vivaldi, Chrome, and Edge are the big ones. Brave, it's Chromium-based. And the biggest problem is it does have some really goofy stuff like the BAT token crypto advertising
There's a
stuff
lot of
baked
weird
into it.
I would describe it as almost like a crypto browser. It's
Yeah, it sort of feels as one of those things that it's a crypto bro wrapped up in a browser. Uh, Also, it does have some issues previously in its life that it caused some trust issues, because they were straight up injecting affiliate links into their
I
advertising.
think they were doing almost full honey style level of badness.
Yeah, uh,
Also,
Brave.
also for a long time, it just didn't freaking work. Like it rendered worse than Firefox and performed worse than Chrome.
It still has some weird rendering
So,
bugs.
Yeah.
like,
It still does rendering weirdly. Like it's a little goofy.
It totally goofy. But so Vivaldi, the other free-ish one, it's semi-open source. The back end is open source, but some of the GUI stuff isn't. So that's why it's not as great. It is also a just massive Swiss Army knife of everything. And that makes it really, really heavy and plus hard to use just because it's unwieldy. Edge, of course, is all the Google stuff stripped off with a little bit of binginess and AI secret sauce splashed around. Supposedly, it's it's more private than Chrome, because it doesn't necessarily tie everything straight to your Google account.
saying it's a little bit, whatever, a little bit less intrusive is maybe not the right choice of words, considering they've just replaced everything that was Google with Microsoft. Like by default, in a Windows 11 box, you are effectively forced to sign into Chrome, or sorry, forced to sign into Edge with your Microsoft account that you're using for the computer. And it wants to save all your history and all your everything and use it to train their AI and etc.
Yeah, that's why I said only slightly.
Like if you want to give your data to not Google, if your requirement is bang Google, yeah, Edge technically meets its requirements.
Because some of their stuff is slightly more privacy minded by default. It does prompt and ask you some of the things before it starts doing it, where Chrome is just straight up, we'll do it live. But yeah, so that's where most of the world gets their web browsering, is the Blink V8 stack. If you want Firefox-based stuff, of course, there's the OG Firefox, which we're trying to avoid. And then there's the stack of other stuff. So there's like WaterFox, which is the most, it's yet another fork of Firefox. You've got LibreWolf, which is still a small dev team. They're aggressively pro-privacy, but all of that makes websites not work well sometimes.
Sugarloaf in general is kind of a pain in the butt to use. Like, like it does also delete all your cookies when you sign out. Very good privacy, but a massive pain if you go into your Google account every single time.
Yeah, it's very, very, very strongly privacy at the cost of everything else.
Oh, you want WebGL so you can go view Google Maps? You might not get that too.
Yeah, and then the other problem is they are a very small dev team, and updates in most of these lesser projects lag behind the flagship browsers.
And I think the LibreWolf team also should have admitted if they had the Firefox, if they had a they had a fork Firefox, say that 5 times fast, they couldn't do it. So
Yeah. Yeah, so then, and then of course, Tor browser is basically just enabling you to use Tor, and that's all you should really use it for.
And doesn't it basically also disable a bunch of like the JavaScript?
oh,
and
oh, yeah,
stuff?
oh yeah, like it is Tor browser is only use it for Tor, and it is hack to heck. It does all sorts of goofy things to make that work correctly. And
Yeah.
if you use it, if you use your Tor and non-Tor in it, and you can leak things in fun ways.
They still make Edge for Linux.
Yes, and that's one of the things that we'll try installing here in a couple minutes.
Oh, that's like fun.
So yeah, and then there's the Safari WebKit stack, which of course the 800-pound gorilla is Safari, and then your various different like GNOME, Conqueror, etc. Otter is interesting in the fact that it's pro-privacy. It has some built-in tools, privacy manager sort of stuff. You've got some interesting flavors like Dolphin, of course, we won't dive into, but it's an Android-based one. PlayStation 3 Plus uses the WebKit stuff. Tizen, the Amazon Kindle all leverage it.
Also, technically, Blink, that's where Blink came from.
Yes.
Blink has been heavily modified since then, but that's where Blink came
The
from.
Kindle one, I believe, sometimes is also called Silk, depending on.
Yes. I was trying to remember the name of it. But yeah, so then other fork of Gecko, which is
I think some.
yeah, a little bit, I think.
Also, it depends on if you're on an e-ink Kindle or a Kindle Fire. Because the e-ink Kindles, I believe, still do a
Do
lot
the
more
e-ink
proxying.
Kindles even have a browser? Yeah.
Yes. Is it very good? No.
Yeah, even my D-pad Kindle had a browser. I think it was the first one with a browser, and it's still an experimental feature. And they dropped support for that Kindle, so it may not do anything anymore, but.
There for a while, you could actually do it over the cell phone link.
Oh yeah,
When it first came out.
that was a thing back then.
Yes, back on the, but was that a browser?
Yes,
Oh,
I
I
think
think
you
they
could
had
send
browser
it
back
through the
then.
browser at that point, but it was pretty sketchy and very, very slimmed down. But part of the reason why they're proxying so much of that is they're processing it for the potato that is in the CPU of that.
And you're also in the potato of a screen that you have.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very similar to the whole game rendering using that machine over there because I'm on a Pi.
Right.
But I
Yes.
remember in the beginning, Fires also All of your stuff was proxied.
Not all of it, cause like the first time I got a
All
Fire,
the beginning fires, first gen, second gen Fire tablets.
yeah, I had one, I didn't have to change anything to access local stuff. So I don't know if they just intelligently decided this is local, we're not gonna proxy it, but it wasn't everything, but it was, yeah, it was close to it.
But yeah, so anyway, though, the Pale Moon Goanna seemed like some weird fork of Firefox that's been heavily forked and left a long time ago, and it's mostly seemed to be very East Asia weirdness. I really couldn't find a good justification for using it, other than it looked cool. DuckDuckGo, of course, is using WebKit, just lobotomized. And then, of course, for those old people who are utterly sadistic, there is Internet Explorer that uses Trident and Chakra, but don't. Just, no, don't.
We finally killed IA-11 a couple years ago, and the internet's finally moved on from that horror for the most part.
But then again, at one point, I did actually still use a Mosaic browser just to say I could.
Fair enough.
And it was actually running on a Project Vincent terminal. And yeah, it was horrible. It didn't work well at all anymore.
Doesn't IE still live on in like some special edge of edge? Like if you have some like
There's a
old,
compatibility mode, isn't there?
I think there is, of some ancient, like if you have some ancient enterprise system that really needs IE mode for reasons, I think Edge will do it.
I think they killed a good chunk of that off with some of their Windows 11 updates.
Okay.
Which is
Because
good.
it was definitely a thing in Windows 10 most of the time, although you had to fight it quite a bit. But yeah, at least to my, I could be wrong, but at least to my knowledge, as of currently fully patched Windows 11, you can't get Edge to do true Internet Explorer level code execution, which is probably good, but that also means anything ActiveX is just a hard no. Anything Java applet is a hard no. Anything Flash is a hard no.
Anything like Java's been hard no, like unless you got really creative and had an old version of Windows kicking around.
But there were some like partial ActiveX things, if I remember right, that you could still do in Edge on Windows 10 for a while.
Okay.
But not like proper ActiveX, but like just enough to maybe render the page. But you can't click on anything on it. Like it was like a weird. We're not really running ActiveX, but we've enabled enough of the code base that you can kind of see what it might have looked like type deal. You were still better off just loading IE6 in a Windows 7 VM and calling it good, but. Yeah. Yeah, or installing it in line. I saw someone do that once and that was interesting.
Yeah, I've done that before to get stuff to work right. But yeah, looking at Midori here, I realized I skipped over him. It's very lightweight, fast, and targeted at like older low-powered systems.
I used Midori on one of the various netbook OSs back when that was a thing, like 2010 era.
But of course, the big point here is that, especially on these smaller browsers, here there be dragons. The support is really dodgy at best.
Was this AI generated?
Yes.
Cause that's actually one of the best ones I've seen. They even spelled things correctly, mostly kind of.
Yeah, there'd be the bottom side. I'm not quite sure what's going on.
Loose speed dragons.
What, lose?
LOSE, loose.
Loose speed dragons. Here there be, not there be dragons, but here there dragons. Loose speed dragons. But the fact that it didn't misspell any individual words, unless there's an I somewhere in the word, the top one of the word,
Yeah.
between the G and the N.
I will note the word loose is the Latin script on that one is not exactly there.
Yeah, and then the other odd thing is this Google Map
Pin.
Smoking crater, yes.
smoking crater there.
Well, and it's still got the hands over the feet. even though the hands are holding the map.
Yeah.
Oh, it does, yep.
Yeah,
So like, there are definitely still some deformities, but this is
it's
There's-
improving.
decent.
And like, and so there's a surprising, like the map, the map is actually doing the correct things, surprising, at least on the right foot.
Yeah, yeah.
Dan, I see you called out, yes, I missed Waterfox. I
Well,
don't seem to
the
have-
analysis missed water fox, but then the next page had water fox on it. So it's kind of interesting that that gap existed between your AI analyst thing on GitLab versus the next slide had the water fox on it.
Yeah, so those were these aren't actually AI generated. This slide set of slides right here.
No, the one before this.
Oh,
Yeah,
this one
that
here.
Waterfox is probably hiding in that.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
sorry,
you're right. It is
Waterfox
that. I see it now. Got overprinted. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was doing there.
It's called
But-
not pretty.
It's called a typewriter.
You just type over it twice in the
Yep.
typewriter.
Yep.
That's how you correct errors, right?
But yeah, so that's the presentation part of the talk. And now we're going to do a more practical one here as I switch machines. We're just going to live install stuff just straight up with no planning or anything. So we're just going to do it live here.
Install all the viruses, that's what I'm hearing.
Basically, yeah.
And it's a Linux box, right?
Yep. So
Oh,
let's
so we
see.
didn't have as much fun as like when I got that vendor to install a virus-ridden version of Chrome. That was a good time.
Yeah,
Not
so
at Ice Age, that happened.
so the good news is here.
Because friend of a friend of a friend somehow had us deploying their software.
Okay.
Well, I can tell that's really much we're not recording.
Yeah, so yeah, let's go ahead and go with the demo here. First, of course, Brave. I'm going to paste this into the chat because I'm not going to type all this stuff because I am super lazy.
So there was no plan.
It
It's very well planned out.
does.
Well, you also assume that I've practiced all of this. So yeah, here we go.
I said planned, not executed.
Let's see
Ooh,
here.
Dan wants me to be louder.
Okay. So here we are. Please.
You're clicking it from a different machine.
There we go.
I made that up, but it sounded good. I am
Okay.
with the state of the art. I don't know what that means, but I'll take it, I guess.
I think he was telling you to speak up.
Yeah, well, I knew the speak up part, but I didn't understand the explanation part. It's all good though.
Okay.
We got a
come on.
wind blowing here during the Zoom from here, so it's you're competing with Mother Nature.
Well, that's not a competition I'll ever win, but we'll call it good enough.
Okay, so with Brave here, the big thing is it's not actually in the apt repo. So what we're going to do is download the keyring and download the actual. Yep, we're just downloading the keyrings and then bringing it in and adding. Apparently, they're just using S3 for their app repo.
I mean, all a repo is just a file store, so S3 can be your file server.
Yeah, so I mean, I love it. It's a fast, cheap way of doing it. And if there's no, they're just well, no, they're doing through Brave. So I bet they're probably using Cloudflare as their.
Cloudflare or some other CDN that isn't as expensive as raw S3 because S3
Right.
because that's raw S3 is kind of expensive on egress.
The part that sketches me out a little bit about how Brave does it versus some of the others is that you can't add it like you add a normal repository, right? You have to like manually do the GPG key and everything. You can't just sudo apt add repository because
A lot of repositories you have to add the G.
yeah, I know, and they all sketch me out.
Well, because they're not part of
Why?
the trusted in app or
You're
in
adding their key.
yeah. If you trust them enough to be picking up their stuff, you should trust them also to pick up their key.
Well, why can't you apt add repository with them?
You could, but it's not going to be signed, so it will give you a security error. Because they're not part of the trusted the ring of trust of the actual
Of your district.
distro.
Right. So it's not. It's
Are
not
you talking about like
strictly-
the PPA, like down there about the PPA?
Yeah, well, that's PPA, which then is signed with Ubuntu's PPA stuff. So that, but like the calling it just the GPG key wasn't necessarily the right part that concerns me. But a lot of the ones that do that, instead of having you add the key and then using the sudo apt add repository, they have like manual sed or grep or t that you're doing to the source files, which works, but is not necessarily best practice because that's why you have things like apt-add repository.
So you mean like that?
Yeah, like that. Now, at least they are doing it in a dedicated file of the .d, because there are some that just do it straight to .list, which is even sketchier.
Oh, they just put their, that's sketchy.
Well, it used to be that was how you did it, but as soon as they came up with the .d, the ones that didn't.
Yep. And .d's been around for a while.
Oh, and you can do it the snap too.
Yeah, apparently there is a
Really want
snap.
it to suck, install the snap.
Oh, so it can be even slower.
Even slower and more buggy. And RAM intensive.
But more
Why would it be more-
secure.
Hey, it can install bring saved sessions
That's
from
hilarious.
yeah, no.
What-
No, I'm not going to let them.
Inside Brave or inside Snap. Because the problem is, remember, Snap isolates the process,
Yeah.
and that isolation especially doesn't work well because a lot of packages weren't designed that way. So they assume they can access things that they can't, and things just kind of break.
And Snap in general tends to be pretty buggy.
Agreed.
So the fact that you do anything with Snap therefore makes it more buggy. Because you're not just dealing with the bugs of the code that's being run within Snap, you're dealing with the code of Snap.
Plus it being ran inside a lockdown environment.
And then,
which is-
and then what you
Yeah.
said too, on top of that, yeah, all the things.
So anyway, though, here you can see they've already tried to grab my privacy information here about 4 different ways as we were watching, because they wanted me to send anonymous data for their search engine crawling. They wanted to grab anonymous data for my app usage, and now they're also wanting to earn tokens for private ads that we see in Brave too
Well,
here.
I think that's actually like crypto
Yeah, this is
blockchain
your crypto,
nonsense.
yeah. So yeah, anyway, though, let's just go to, I don't know,
I really wanna find a
My,
way to-
one of my favorites is typically CNN.com for watching the ad blocker number go up.
I
start a
really-
video call with
How
your,
is it compared?
It's usually pretty bad compared to YouTube, at least in my experience. Like
MSN.com is worse, but
yeah, MSN.com or CNN.com, one of those two are usually a great way to check a blocker.
heck, even KCCI.
Yeah, all the local news site.
Although KCCI, so much of it isn't even like officially ads, it's just their own crap that it doesn't get blocked.
big.
yeah, so you can see CNN is going full hog there.
We saved 2 full seconds of load time, that's great.
Oh, and apparently you need Widevine in order to view their video for some silly reason.
Because DRM.
Yep.
Nope.
Nope, Widevine is still very much alive and well.
So yeah, the other big one, MSN. Let's just take a look as that's loading.
As all the numbers go up. Most of that was from CNN.
Oh, well, it hasn't.
Oh, you have to actually click into it.
Yeah.
Block 36 trackers on
I'd say
MSN.
this doesn't look like the MSN homepage. I bet Yahoo would be similar.
Yeah, so anyway, as you can see, it's
They
Yeah.
actually made it look kind of nice.
yeah, but so valid option.
That many seconds.
I've used Brave
What you
quite a
can
bit.
do
I
to-
consider it a decent browser. Works
Yeah.
pretty darn well.
And then
Using with the laptop, it's.
yes, compared to like without a blocker,
Oops.
and I'm assuming it's also doing like, get the length out of the HTTP header that it sent to you, how long it is, add that up, and that's also they used to have megabytes saved. So I'm assuming that's what they did is they got the
Yeah, so they did have the bandwidth saved.
oh they do, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, anyway, though, a perfectly valid option, and as you can see, performance-wise, it is dragging a little bit, but this isn't a great laptop, so
Is that an N100 processor, as
Yeah.
I recall? Yeah.
yep. So yeah, it's a perfectly valid, not terrible browser. It feels very mainstreamy, just as long as you
It works
ignore
very well
and
for
then
my
the other
personal
night.
experience.
The other nice thing is it does have a private tab that will actually run off of Tor. So that is a nice feature here.
Yes, if you want to, you like right click on a link, and so if you right click on a new tab, you can do right click, you can open in Tor just like that.
It's almost as fancy as what I'm gonna show off.
Yeah, so there you can see we're going through Tor, and it actually performance-wise is better than what I expected because I've had horrible experience with Tor usually.
But-
Page.
Yeah, it is a pretty
It takes
slim.
longer for it to grab from disk than it does for it to render.
Yeah,
Well, also the thing is like Tor, even on the simple web page, can get annoying because like you have CSS, one CSS file, one JavaScript file, one HTML. You might be bouncing through 2 different exit nodes to get all that.
but anyway, in the interest of time here, let's give Otter a try. So we're in this case, we're pulling from a PPA, but it is their group's PPA, so there's that. And so the commands here for Ubuntu are pretty darn easy. Does it still know my? Okay, press enter to install it. That's not great. Again, talking about
404.
okay, so that one is going to fail because apparently they're no longer hosting their own thing.
Try, before giving up, try sudo apt update. And then run those commands, run that first command again, just in case. Yeah, so you're having issues with even apt up. Oh no, that's just the PPA, never mind.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, so it broke.
the
It
PPA is
broke.
very broken.
Yeah,
Everything else works. Yep, you broke.
yeah, okay. Well, Otter, sorry guys. So let's just go ahead with Midori instead here.
Oh, the latest release they point to is on everybody's favorite open source site, SourceForge. Last updated in 2022.
Can
That's another good question.
you?
I mean,
Okay,
it's fair
so
enough. I mean, it's also kind of like calling GitHub your favorite open source site, but
And unfortunately, Midori apparently wanted to be a snap here, so we're
gonna try that instead.
gonna give it a try here.
So yeah, Otter appears to have SourceForge and GitHub from 2022.
Okay, so yeah, they're probably semi-dead at this point then,
Yeah, just like Hashcat.
which is unfortunate. Because the odds of a browser that old being actually safe to use on the internet is concerning at best.
I mean, just getting it to work with TLS root CAs and stuff changing around might be
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, this is CSS retest makes page hang is the second issue in Otter.
Okay,
So it might
Midori,
not
are
be the
you
best
gonna
browser to
work?
use.
Also not the only issue.
Yeah, there's 246 other issues.
Oh. So
That's for cybersecurity purposes.
So this is what I was talking about when I said that sometimes things just don't work in Snap. I've had apps that work perfectly fine compiling from source, but you go to run them in Snap and you get this. Now, is that the case here? I don't know, but
well, the fact that they didn't have a apt package anymore either is a pretty big
Yeah, I think they're bad.
yeah,
Well, we don't worry about
that's
the cookies.
disappointing. Yeah, so that's gonna fix that one.
Pale Moon, let's see.
Yeah, Pale Moon, let's go ahead and try it.
did Midori got bought by Astian?
Who's that? I don't even want to know who Astian is.
When I Google for Midori browser, I get this website.
It's not an encouraging website. That's all I got.
And
I'll
there
gotta
is
say.
a Linux link.
That looks completely trustworthy. Okay, Pale Moon.
Ooh, you can
Really?
use an app image.
Apt.
Here, I'm gonna send you, I'm gonna drop in the,
Yeah, Pale Moon isn't loved anymore either. That must be an old one. Okay.
Ed should be nice to us.
Yeah, Edge will work.
if you check, general channel of Slack, I dropped a link if you want to give, sketchy Midori a try.
Right here, let's go with Chrome first before I go navigating off. But basically, all we're doing is just getting from Google Edge here, sorry. First Edge. We're actually doing the right thing with Microsoft. And they're pseudo-teeing themselves in there as well, because of course, why not? Let's see if this will actually work. It should, because I actually have Edge already installed on this machine, I believe. Because why not?
You may get an issue when it finds a duplicate then. Oh, you might need to remove your, repository that didn't work.
We'll see if it will, yeah. I'll need to fix it here eventually because it's going to be very cranky.
So what's really interesting about that is that instead of like the rest of apt where they have a remove or a purge or whatever complementary command, the way that you remove is you use that same command and you just have tac remove. So you apt add repository tac remove.
Oh, because apt remove is the
Or sorry, it's add. Sorry, I keep thinking it's apt add, but it's apt repository space tac remove and then your PPA.
That's
It's
awesome.
like, wait, why isn't this remove apt repository?
Okay, so here we go. We have Edge installed now and it's all up to date.
Oh, that donate button is hilariously placed on the website. Oh,
So yeah, and it's the Edge that everyone knows and loves, complete with the trying to get you to sign into Microsoft.
In Copilot AI.
And yes, the Copilot is writing Copilot here.
And alarmist news stories. And
Yes,
clickbait. Sponsored ad, not news stories.
yes, because MSN is the boomer news of the internet here.
and we haven't gone in we don't have a nice ad blocker here. We get all the fun nonsense.
Have you actually served MSN News?
Facebook is the Google fake news.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, so anyway, though, here if we go to CNN, just to give it a fair test.
Oh, boy.
You can see how much slower it loads when all the ads are being loaded.
What?
I think it's trying to open a video here.
Oh, there's something up there at top.
Dude, it's going so slow that even the spinny circle was stuttering.
It is. It's still a stuttering.
Oh, fun fact, I recently learned that that is not a series of images or a GIF, it is a font.
Oh.
In a series of characters in a font.
Yeah, that's third-party ad content, and yeah, it's still trying to load.
I think we might have saved more than 2 seconds with the other browser.
Yeah. And then let's see, the Chromium, of course, should be in there because everybody loves Chromium.
It's under a license that people are actually willing to package it.
How Google gets some of your data, but not all
Yes. There's also the relatively maybe sketchy on Google Chromiums that are various flavors and do various entertainment.
So the funny thing was, even though it was through apt, it's actually installing itself as a snap.
Yes, that is.
Oh, that's Ubuntu for the past couple versions, yeah.
Yeah,
Also, they had it rule broken the first time they did it, where tree would also be a snap, and you can imagine how useful tree was as a snap. This tree was sandboxed.
Tree.
how did that work? Well,
It didn't at all.
Tree.
This, like, you type in tree, and it gives you a nice pretty tree of all your files.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like the tree command was
Oh,
just wasn't an apt wasn't one of those things, and
I've
yeah,
not used that one in a long time.
yeah, no, that went poorly.
I forgot about the tree. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, man. I don't remember the last time I issued a tree command, now that you say it.
I mean, typically the tree command's used for refund scams. They type tree during a scan, they type in their scam message at the bottom, and that's the error message.
Yeah, I've just finally got used to ls versus dir, depending on which flavor of command window I'm in within on which
Okay.
operating system.
Because on PowerShell you can use ls.
Okay, here's Chromium web browser. So basically the
Most
de-Googleified Chrome.
De-Googlified asterisks, but you know.
That was some really weird jittering as it was coming up there.
Yeah.
In my personal experience, Chromium browser is one of the best performant on Linux currently.
Actually loaded fairly fast, really. It's still trying to load to that stupid ad up top, but you can totally load in like the ad blockers and stuff like that probably to help. Yeah, it's working just fine.
Surprisingly,
Oh, wow. So it took about 4 seconds to load that ad on my computer running natively in Chrome. with a pass mark that's about 5 times what yours is. So it still took about 4 seconds and it still did the gray like shimmer thing first. And it's just an Amazon ad.
Wow, how many CPU cycles are they killing in the world just to show that stupid? Anyway, though,
Yeah, it's still not going,
Yeah,
yeah,
they don't want to go down that road.
you don't want to go down the road of,
They're building power plants just for data centers that has AI. Well,
nuclear power plants.
and all,
About time.
and non-nuclear.
and also remember,
Yeah.
you know, all of the AI stuff was, you know, ran off our drinking water.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Leslie's drinking water.
No, our drinking water, because it was done here, and I believe they trained it in the central Iowa Azure region.
okay, so
Have you
downloading.
noticed, like, whenever you go down that part of West Des Moines, like, a new Azure data center just kind of appears out of nowhere on a gravel road? Like, there's now like a couple on Boonville, there's one next to 35, once once the lane goes down the 2 lanes.
There's
Okay,
5
so-
primary in West Des Moines with a 6th one planned for near Van Meter.
Yeah,
Don't you want the WN64-bit
Yes,
or the app image if you want to be real feisty?
the actually, I'm not usually too mad about app images. App images are usually relatively well behaved.
They get funky on Ubuntu, especially newer Ubuntus. By newer, I mean anything more recent than this.
Really?
Yeah, so for example, Orca Slicer specifically builds for Ubuntu 24.04, and that specific build doesn't even run on 24.10.
I thought the whole point of app image was like, it's like it brought all the dependencies with it, and it's just an elf with all of its stuff in the thing and just runs.
Yes, and that's how it works on RPM-based distros,
Oh,
is my understanding.
RPA based systems do it the same way.
But Ubuntu
Yeah.
being Snapified,
Yeah, yeah, Flatpak or
Instead of Snap.
no. There's another thing called app image, which is a different format. That's
Yes,
all, which is not Flatpak.
it was pre-flat pack, wasn't it?
Yes, and you don't need any like servers. It's just like, here's a file, go run it.
download is performed on Sandbox as root, as file could not be accessed by.
what did you do?
I don't know. I just did app install.
Oh, no. Here, no. Remove the sudo apt install. You've got like half the command correct.
Was it dpackage.shy?
Yeah. Sudo, so you do need the sudo.
Yeah.
dpkg space tac I.
That command does work on DNF. That's how you install RPM with DNF, but that's apparently not how you do it with apt, unfortunately.
Well,
And
and
then-
I have gotten away with doing that before on some.
Also, have you used apt-get or apt? Because apt also is
Ooh,
weird.
and this one just worked. So sometimes if they're being real sketchy, the deb, all it does is it installs the repository and then you still have to run the apt update apt install the package you want.
Yeah.
Because their deb just provides changes to your repository lists, basically. And then those are the ones that always break on upgrade, and then you're left with outdated software you didn't know was outdated.
This is
This
Midori.
is Midori, sketchy Midori.
You want to dive in?
Sure.
Sure, let's dive in. Oh, no.
so. What is Midori? It looks like Firefox.
So Midori is lightweight, targeting like fast or old browsers. Let's see, what is it based off of? Looking back at my notes.
Firefox? Based on
And
Midori.
this may or may not be the Midori that you researched,
It's
because this is owned by Ostian.
It says WebKit, but the interface looks extremely Firefoxy.
yeah, let's go ahead.
Ooh, they have Aston OS.
Is that like Chrome OS? Or is it like a weird Linux distro?
It is a distro known for Midori browser.
That is like,
This is not helpful.
that help me.
Okay, so it's using WaterFox.
Oh, your screen's not showing your slides.
Oh, sorry. Everyone who's not here could see that. So it looks like it's from the Mozilla. So it looks like they have forked it over to the Mozilla engine.
And it's like a water fox adjacent, maybe.
Yeah, and it looks like they're doing edgy sort of stuff there too, and doing all sorts of sketchy.
So it appears from what I'm just kind of looking around. It appears that what used to be Midori browser on Linux, that's your GTK thing that you mentioned that I was thinking of from the 2010 era,
Yeah,
is apparently now Florp, Floorp, according to some Reddit threads. And the Midori browser that I just had you install is its own thing entirely. As
okay.
best as I can tell.
I mean, sure, why not?
I think the goal, the goal was all the viruses. I think was the stated goal.
Yeah, okay, let's just try apt search FLOO.
Oh, okay, the Wikipedia page has more. No, so it is the one we know and love, but it did become a derivative of the Firefox browser. So
Okay,
they acquired, in 2019, the Midori project was acquired by the Astein Foundation. And I'm probably pronouncing that wrong.
Close enough.
The asinine.
The asinine.
I love it.
It actually looks like they're another one of these upstarts trying to build like kiosks, sort of like the OLPC type stuff. Like they're trying to do their own thing and make Linux fun again and all that stuff. So who knows what will actually happen to
Yeah,
it, but
so your florp was spelled FLO.
ORP. FLOORP.
Nope, not an apt cache.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I'm not sure what that is, but it came up in my searches.
Awesome. Well, so I think we've utterly demolished this poor laptop now.
You've installed all sorts of fun things.
Yeah, all the browsers.
Well, I found a few extras for you and I uploaded as a Word doc to you, Andy, just for more pain.
Cool, yeah. Does anyone have any other browser or I mean, if they have a browser show off that they really like how they have their browser set up and would like to show off, you're more than welcome to as well. Here, I admit I go the lazy route and for the most part just go with the default browser with nothing much added in other than like some pop-up blockers and crap like that.
Yeah.
UBO, which that's another fun thing to add to this conversation.
So
If you really like BlueBlock Origin, Chromium-based browsers probably are also not going well.
Yeah.
So I have
Opera is
some
pretty
cool
interesting.
browser tricks
Check
you
that.
can do.
Check out Opera.
So can you Andy open you might want to close a bit of other stuff, but go ahead and open Chrome
Okay, here we go.
or Chromium, either way. I think whatever, as long as we can install extensions, because we need to install extension, I think you can do that.
Still want to know what that weird jitter is as it comes up, but
Yeah, no. So we're going to be looking for Chasm. It's spelled KASM.
okay. Extensions. Manage
You need to
extensions.
go to the web store because it's not installed. So yeah, there you go. Chrome Web Store. There's a link.
Nope. Extensions. There we go. Chrome Web Store. Okay, searching
KASM.
CKASM.
Yeah, that one. We'll install this extension.
Oh, that was the trick. Once I installed that, that's what fixed it for me.
Oh, interesting. Also, I closed everything, so there shouldn't be resource contention until Andy tries to start it. Then he's going to get the error. Okay,
So
so
I will
we'll go.
close mine.
And so we'll go to manage the extension. So this is running on apparently a very resource limited machine because browsers take multiple gigabytes of RAM for a single tab now. But anyhow, this is a fun little thing that could probably be its whole own talk. But let's go to, so Andy, if you go to your manage extensions and like, I think it's within Chrome's window, it's called like manage or something like that. So yeah, like the 3 dots and then manage extension. Yeah, that one. There's a URL spot somewhere.
And if you click on, so if you click on the puzzle piece in the top, then go to.
Yeah, he's already there.
Oh yeah.
He just needs to click on whatever subheading it is. I can't read them from here.
It's a different setting, but
Site
Site settings.
Yeah, site settings. Nope,
Nope.
not that one.
Just go up to the puzzle piece and do it. There's a different one. There's an options versus manage extension. That brings up.
Options, there we go.
Oh, I lied. Jared was wrong. Birgit was correct. Okay, so chasm URL. So we needed it to be https://10 .101.3.251 and then another slash, and then we save it.
Okay,
And then we need to, did it actually save?
yeah,
Okay, cool. And then we go to that URL. So and you do need the HTTPS, otherwise it gets angry. So HTTPS. Got too many tabs open.
HTTPS oops, come on, //
10,
10
101,
1
3,
3.
251.
Okay, not secure.
And then we
That's fine.
bypass all the stuff because it's a self-signed cert. And then for the purposes of this demo, it's admin at chasm, same spelling, .local.
Okay, KASM.LOCAL.
And then your password is admin PW, all lowercase.
INPW.
Now this does 2 things when we click login. One is it gives us a cookie so that we can actually use the thing. And 2, you can poke around with the admin interface to configure things. So if you go to the 3 lines on the left, or if you make your window bigger, either way, there should be an option for you to configure the workspace. I forget what it's called. Can you zoom in a bit, maybe? See it from here. That one ended up kicking you out. Yeah, okay, so we want to go to, yeah, try workspaces. I think it's under workspaces. Nope, try registry. Yeah, so here, now if you zoom out a bit, now that we've got where we need to be, here are all the different things that you can install with Chasm. So web browsers are one of the big things that's what I use it for primarily. But in theory, you could do an entire operating system, as you see there are options for that. So I've gone ahead and installed Firefox and Audacity and Vivaldi for this, and set a default. If you don't have a default, this next trick won't work. So now we go to any website. Let's go to a search engine of your choice. I might try closing the unused Chrome tabs. That might free up enough that it's happier.
I think the problem is it's trying to grab it as I'm trying to click there.
Oh, okay. So then let's search for something. Tux, Linux, Penguin, I don't know, something that should give us some results. And then let's say that first link up top we're a little sketched out by, but we want to see what's there. So we can right click on that and we can say open link in Chasm. And what this is gonna do is it's actually gonna run it on my computer that's running that Chasm instance.
Oh, nice.
And basically, I mean, yes, it's in a container because Chasm is a Docker container, but it's in its own little isolated environment that can't really get to anything else, and certainly can't get to anything outside the Docker in terms of like file paths and whatnot. So if you're trying to download something using this, it's going to be crap. If you want to investigate a sketchy link that might run some malicious JavaScript, and you can otherwise protect your Docker container, you can allow clipboard sync if you want. But of course, if you're worried about the clipboard doing sketchy things, you don't want to do that. And then you've got this whole little browser here.
So
And
is
then,
this remote desktop?
How about 4chan?
yeah, you could do 4chan.
Just for this tab, or is it rendering on yours and, no, I'm not saying it right. It's pulling it on yours and rendering it here?
So I think what it's basically doing is think like a video, an interactive video
I
stream.
believe that it's being effectively pre-rendered on my machine, but it still is using HTML to render on Andy's.
It's actually doing surprisingly well.
Yeah. So it's, and I don't know exactly how much code runs on what side, but I know that like if you execute JavaScript, that's being executed on there. So the client side stuff is being done there, but then it's similar to if you had a guacamole instance or something and you were doing it that way. Now what's really cool about this is see that little nub that's sticking out there in the upper left. So you discovered that this was a virus, you don't want it, you want to get rid of it. You can say delete session, and that will like completely purge everything you've done in Vivaldi.
Oh, sorry, here.
That's all right, we just purged it, we can open a new one. Now let's launch Firefox. But we just purged it, so if you were on 4chan, and you didn't want your history there, and you forgot to use incognito, or you were using this instead of incognito, now nobody knows that you were on 4chan except your ISP and your DNS providers and your search provider and
4chan,
and the NSA and
the FBI.
some other agencies. But apart from all those, nobody that has access to your computer or your Chasm instance knows that you are on 4chan.
Ta-da.
Yeah, so this is a fun thing, especially if, like me, you've needed to investigate various phishing things that executed lots of very sketchy JavaScript and were concerned about it maybe grabbing details about the machine that you're investigating it from. Well, now it's not doing that. It's grabbing details about the machine that you're running this on. So this is my kind of cool / dumb browser tricks. You can use it for privacy, you can use it for security, you can use it for dumb show-offs at the Linux user group. But yeah, that's sort of my show and tell, and feel free to continue poking around with it. But you may get out of resource errors.
The server can handle one and only one browser being open at a time.
And that may be a limitation of the licensing, because this is very much a freemium model. Chasm
Gotcha.
has their eye on VDI-esque type deployments. And while they are open source or open source-ish, they are also very similar to, what do you call it? They're very similar to
Like
Red Hat.
Red Hat or something else like being
Or
GitLab.
Canonical.
Okay.
Or GitLab, or yeah, something along those lines. Like
Okay,
or like HashiCorp was pre-IBM.
so to answer Don's question here, you click this little thingy here, this
So
little
there's a
knob,
little extra tab
Yeah.
that's sitting there. Okay,
and you click that, and that's how you can get to the extra stuff that
And
will
this-
interact with
this
this.
was chosen because Firefox was chosen in the Chasm container
Yes,
instead of Chrome,
instead of
instead of-
Vivaldi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
something, okay.
yep, I just picked a different one.
Well, and you can do you don't have to use the right
And
click
you
open as.
have-
That's just really convenient if you're doing most of your work in one browser, but you want to do this one thing in a sketchy one-off session. But you can totally use it. And I was just mentioning to Andy, they've got their eye on the the VDI-esque market. So they're really hoping that what you do is like, Andy, if you go back to, if you close out of this little side panel and you close out of this little pop-up and you actually go back to the admin URL in a web browser. Or if Don wants to go to it, either way.
What?
Do you want to go to the URL directly, or do you want to watch Andy? Here, we can watch Andy do it since, or they hear us
Okay,
too.
so,
It's the 10 dot. Yeah, that one.
okay, here we are back.
So Don, this is like Chasm here. And you can, if you open the left panel.
Yeah. And there was
And then go to wherever that repository was.
this was your main browser. And this was where you have an extension installed and set up and logged into his account.
Yeah.
And that's how you right clicked.
Yeah, so
Yes.
And
right now,
throw it to your
so right now,
instance there.
that URL that's in the address bar is my travel router, which is port forwarding to a Proxmox VM. That is hosting the Docker container. So that URL is effectively getting him straight to the Chasm running in Docker. And you can see, go ahead and install something. I don't care. It might not let you because there might not be enough space, but go for it. Try it. Let's see what happens. Maybe not an entire OS, but perhaps an app.
A circuit. He wants a shell on your box.
I mean, go for it. I already had to reset the root password to Tor or something like that.
You have to bin bash your box.
I booted to a live CD, intruded, and did a PASSWD.
Oh, you did that? You
to
did
update
that?
my password. Well, I was gonna crack it, but it was yes crypt, so I'm like, nah.
That sounds like effort.
Cause there are a handful of, when I have a throwaway machine like this, there are a handful of passwords that I sort of rotate through that I might pick, or variations on them for a throwaway root password. If it's anything serious, obviously I'm generating it and storing it in a password manager, but I didn't store this in a password manager, which tells me either I was stupid or I picked a variant on one of my go-tos, or both.
Or it got, or you talk about the box because you got bored.
Yeah, something. So so I couldn't, well, tacos has become in my rotation now for throwaways.
Yeah, it looks like it's still downloading XFCE terminal.
Yeah, it'd be angry sometimes. And you can go to the status page and see the progress and stuff too.
There it goes.
There's also a user. So by default, it gives you admin and user. And admin, of course, has admin level stuff and user has user level stuff. But if you're the only one using it and it's in a Docker container you already have root access to, and you're not worried about weird esoteric container escapes via web browsers, probably doesn't make that much of a difference. But if you were actually wanting to deploy this as some sort of EDI tool, yeah, that would definitely be useful to have different access levels.
Can multiple people access the same thing through the same pathway, like for education?
Oh, I don't know. You'd have to go read their marketing.
I mean, I was just thinking like it might actually work across multiple machines simultaneously, where you could have a computer lab where you're showing how to do command line or something across multiple people's machines in some
Oh, so rather than having a multi-terminal machine,
He's talking about having it all in the same session.
yeah,
I don't know that it supports that directly. Like I say, you'd have to go read their
And
marketing
not
stuff.
many educational establishments are gonna be looking for that anyway.
Yeah, I think
Not
that-
anymore.
I think that's a
Maybe
niche
just has a
enough use
big
case.
screen.
You'd be better off
Like
just
one of
putting
the-
it on a projector and having the students follow along, each within their own session.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of fun tools, or like you would. I remember like Apple Remote Desktop and Apple environment, where you just like show your screen to everybody's in the computer lab. Or lock everybody's screen in the computer lab. That was a fun thing they could do.
Oh, yeah, the fun thing I may have done from time to time was use 2 admin level RDP sessions to lock the local user out of their machine for a bit. Because RDP on non-terminal server licenses,
Yes.
basically, you only get 2. And
Oh, you're.
you can kick or wait for kick or other, like, there are ways that you can remove one of those 2. But one of the fun things to do was if the local user, like sitting at the keyboard monitor, was a non-admin user, and you could get 2 admin privilege users logged in via RDP, you could actually keep the local user locked out in some cases. At least in the Windows XP era, when I may have done such sketchy things.
Or you could also just remote console into their machine, or remote that Windows management thing and just kick their user out.
I
But
think that.
I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's still 2.
yeah, anyway, though,
All
here we
modern
can.
server stuff, it's